It was the spring of 1962, a day when azaleas were in bloom in the small fishing village in the South Sea. 20-year-old Sunny sat on a mountain ridge, gazing out at the sea. The sound of the waves seemed to soothe my mind. But the pain deep within my heart did not subside. Sunny slowly turned around at the sound of a voice coming from behind her. Young-chul was standing there. At 22, he couldn't hide his yearning on his suntanned face. Brother Young-chul. An indescribable emotion flowed between them. We were childhood friends who grew up together. But at some point, the way we looked at each other changed. "Do you really have to go?" Young-chul's voice trembled. Sunny nodded. At home, Sunny was desperately hoping to work as a nurse in the Pacific to help pay for her youngest son's college tuition. In those poor times, a daughter's sacrifice was taken for granted. "Germany is so far away. I don't know when we'll meet again." Young-chul took Sunny's hand. Although the fisherman's hands were rough and rugged, their warmth enveloped Sunny's heart. "You know, Oppa, what our family's situation is like." Sunny's voice trembled. "If my younger brother wants to continue his studies, I have to go." The two looked out at the sea in silence. The sunset-tinted sea was beautiful, but their hearts were heavy with the pain of separation. "Then I'll wait. No matter how long it takes. I'll wait." At Young-chul's words, Sunny burst into tears. "Don't make promises. Don't make promises like that." But Young-chul hugged Sunny tightly. Amidst the azalea petals fluttering in the wind, the two first loves met a painful farewell. In May 1962, Sunny boarded a plane to Germany at Gimpo Airport. Inside the bag were seaweed, lovingly wrapped by his mother, and a seashell necklace that Young-chul had secretly given him. Arriving at the university hospital in Dusseldorf, Sunny faced the wall of reality. German was too difficult, and hospital work was much harder than I imagined. When she returned to the dorm late at night, Sunny sat by the window and missed Korea. The smell of the sea from her hometown, the taste of her mother's cooking, and Young-chul's warm smile. What is Young-chul doing now? Looking at the bankbook. He sent home every month. Sunny reminded herself that her choice was the right one. But the loneliness in a corner of my heart grew bigger as time passed. One spring day, during her third year in Germany, Sunny was eating lunch on a bench in front of the hospital. It was an ordinary afternoon, with warm sunshine. But then, Sunny heard a voice from behind her, "Sunny," and turned around in surprise. And then I ended up dropping my lunchbox. Brother Young-chul? I couldn't tell if it was a dream or reality. Young-chul, who had clearly parted ways with Sunny 3 years ago in V, was standing before her. "Sunny, you're truly..." "Sunny." Young-chul hugged Sunny tightly. "I didn't care what people thought." 3 years of longing burst out in an instant. "Oppa, how did you get here?" Young-chul smiled, looking at Sunny's tear-stained face. "I came to see you. If you work as a miner, we can be together in Germany." Sunny couldn't believe it. Young-chul came all the way to Germany to find himself. Stupid brother. For the first time in 3 years, a genuine smile bloomed on Sunny's face. In a small town in the Ruhr region, Young-chul started working in a coal mine. I came to Düsseldorf every weekend to meet Sunny. The two walked along the Rhine River and talked about their hometown. Sunny, let's get married, now. Young-chul cautiously spoke one Sunday afternoon. I still need more money to send home. Until my younger sibling graduates from college. Then why don't we work harder together and send them home together? Young-chul took Sunny's hand. I was planning to have a small wedding ceremony at the request of a Korean pastor I met in Germany. Is it really okay? What can't we do together? In the fall of 1965, the couple held a simple wedding. There were no guests from my hometown, but Koreans I met in Germany congratulated me. Sunny wore a hanbok she brought from V, and Young-chul wore a suit for the first time in his life. On their first night together, the couple sat by the window of their small apartment and gazed at the moon in their hometown. Oppa, I'm so happy. I'm so happy too, Sunny. The two of them believed, without a doubt, that this happiness would last forever. February 14, 1966. It was Valentine's Day. Sunny planned to make chocolate for Young-chul and take it with her. After work in the afternoon, I was excited at the thought of walking along the Rhine River with Young-chul. But around 2 p.m., the hospital was turned upside down by patients being rushed to the hospital. Ruhr coal mine collapse. Many Korean miners buried. A shiver ran through Sunny's body. Ruhr. That's where Young-chul works. Oppa. Oppa Young-chul. Sunny ran out of the hospital. On the train to the mine, Sunny prayed fervently. God, please, please. Please let Young-chul be safe. But what Sunny encountered upon arriving at the mine was despair. Rescue workers were quietly carrying away bodies covered in black cloth. Mr. Young-chul. Has anyone seen Mr. Kim Young-chul? I desperately asked the German rescue team. But all I got was a shake of the head. And finally, Sunny found Young-chul. Young-chul tried to save his fellow miners. But he thought of others until the very last moment. Oppa. Young-chul, Oppa, Sunny cried, hugging Young-chul's body. Sunny lost her life overnight. After Young-chul's funeral, Sunny was left alone in an empty house. Young-chul's clothes, the photos they took together, everything drove Sunny deeper into despair. The hospital recommended taking a leave of absence, but Sunny stuck to her work. I felt like I would go crazy if I didn't work. But at night, I ended up drowning in a sea of tears. Why was I the only one who survived? Why was I the only one? One Saturday night in March, Sunny stood by the Rhine River. It was the road I walked with Young-chul. The cold river water sparkled in the moonlight. Brother Young-chul. Let's go together now. Sunny slowly approached the riverbank. I decided to give it all up. I couldn't find any reason to live with a broken heart any longer. That was then. No. Someone grabbed Sunny from behind. He was a young man with blonde hair. Let me go. Just let me go. Sunny said weakly. No, you must live. The man spoke in German, but Sunny understood. Having lived in Germany for 3 years. There's still a warm light in your eyes. I can't extinguish that light. The man took Sunny far away from the river. And he introduced himself as Hans. I lost everything. My love. And my hope. Sunnae confided her story to Hans. Although my German was poor, Hans listened quietly. Losing someone you love is a really painful thing. But would that person want you to die? Sunnae paused at Hans' words. He will definitely want you to live happily. Shouldn't we live for him? Hans was working as an elementary school teacher in Dusseldorf. He visited Sunnae every week to ask how she was doing. At first, it may have been sympathy. But over time, it turned into sincerity. Hans, why are you being so nice to me? One Sunday, while walking together in the park, Sunnae asked. At first, I didn't really understand either, but now I think I do. Hans paused and looked at Sunnae. I've fallen in love with you. Sunnae's feelings were complicated. I couldn't forget Young-chul, but I couldn't ignore Hans's true feelings. There's still someone else in my heart. I know, I won't ask you to erase him. Just stay by my side. So that I can cry with you when you're sad, and laugh with you when you're happy. Hans's warm heart began to melt Sunnae's frozen heart little by little. In the spring of 1968, the couple had a quiet wedding. Sunnae began a new life with Hans, holding Young-chul's photo close to her heart. Hans and Sunnae enjoyed a quiet and ordinary happiness. Hans sometimes called Sunnae by her German name, Susan. But at home he always called her Sunnae. Sunnae continued to work at the hospital and send remittances to Korea. Hans also understood and supported this. Your family is my family too. The two did not have any children. Perhaps it was because Young-chul was so deeply entrenched in Sunnae's heart. But Hans didn't complain. Instead, Hans taught Sunnae German, and Sunnae cooked Korean food for Hans. Hans' favorite dish was kimchi stew made by Sunnae. This taste makes me wonder about your hometown. Hans also fell in love with Korea because of Sunnae. As time passed, the two grew old together. White frost fell on Hans' blonde hair and Sunnae's black hair. In the 1990s, Sunnae turned 60. I had been living in Germany for over 30 years. Hans, I want to go home now, Sunnae said cautiously one evening. To Korea? Yes, I want to see my hometown. See one more time before I die. And I also want to say hello to Young-chul. Oppa. Hans thought for a moment. And smiled. Then let's go together. To your hometown. But Hans is German. Wherever you are, my hometown is. In 2000. The two finally set foot on Korean soil. The Korea scene from Incheon Airport looked completely different from the one Sunnae had left in 1962. Our country has changed so much, Sunnae muttered, overcome with emotion. The two settled in German village Envy. For Hans, who came from Germany, it was a familiar atmosphere, and for Sunnae, it was a place close to her beloved hometown. Sunnae stood in front of Young-chul's grave in a small cemetery in V. Young-chul's remains were brought back to his hometown from Germany 10 years ago. Brother Young-chul, it's been a while. Sunnae knelt down and stroked the gravestone. Hans waited quietly a little distance away. Oppa, I'm okay now. I'm really okay. Sunay's voice was no longer sad. The spring breeze blew and brushed past Sunay's white hair. You sent Hans, who saved me, didn't you? Thank you. Oppa. Sunay placed the azaleas she had brought in front of the tombstone. It was the azalea I saw with Young-chul as a child. Hans quietly approached and placed his hand on Sunny's shoulder. Are you done? Yes, I'm okay now. Sunny stood up and took Hans' hand. The two left the cemetery and climbed up a hill overlooking the sea. The red sunset of the South Sea was dyeing the sea. It was the beautiful sunset that Sunny had seen since childhood. Thank you, Hans. Thank you. So much. Tears welled up in Sunny's eyes. But those tears weren't sadness. It was tears of gratitude. I am the one who is grateful, Sunny. Thanks to you, I learned what love is. The two stood holding hands, gazing at the sunset. I heard the sound of waves. Sunny's childhood, her first love with Young-chul. Her painful memories in Germany, and even her warm love with Hans. Everything seemed to be contained in the sound of those waves. One spring day in 2010, Sunny quietly closed her eyes. With Hans holding his hand, he fell into a peaceful sleep. On the day of the funeral, Hans placed azalea flowers on Sunny's coffin. And then he muttered quietly, Sunny, you can stay with Young-chul now. I'm fine. Sunny's grave was built on a hill overlooking the Sea. It was a bit far from Young-chul's grave, but it had a view of the same sea. Hans visited Sunny's grave every day and offered flowers he had brought from Germany. And I also placed flowers at Young-chul's grave. Mr. Young-chul, please take good care of Sunny. After exchanging greetings, he looked at the two graves and smiled. Sunny taught Hans that love isn't about jealousy, but about sharing. The sunset over the South Sea continues to paint the sea beautifully today. Beneath that sunset, the love story of three people will be passed down forever, along with the sound of the waves. Enjoyed this story? Don't forget to subscribe.